Hey there, it is Tom Stringer on the behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again, and we're continuing onwards with what do you want to know about guitar building? Now, this episode is probably where I should have started, but to be very honest with you, I didn't get this question up until I released the first episode. So, to that end, Finn, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, asked a very good question, which comes in multiple parts, so I'll go through all of it, but basically, really everything. Where do you get the right size of wood for building a guitar, or how do you build one with a limited tool set? What type of tools do you need? And how much does it usually cost to make an electric guitar? Just wood and basic quality parts. That is a very, very good question. Going step by step of what you were asking, when it comes to buying the right type of wood, now this is very important. If you do have a lumber yard somewhere, a timber store somewhere nearby, they'll help you out, figure out the right type of woods. Usually, they actually have a lot of services where you can buy the wood and then they'll chop it down to workable lengths for you. Now, for instance, if you're looking at bodywood, more often than not, you'll need something that kind of covers enough workability on each side. A very good and easy way of figuring that out, though, would be with a ruler. Let's have a look. Okay, say that, for instance, this body is at its widest, it's about 300 mil wide. So yeah, let's say 150 for the width, and then the longest portion of it is about 420. So let's say 500. So you want to have your starting block be, if you're doing a two-part body, 150 times, let's say 500 times about 52. So that would give you well enough workability on each side. Now, when it comes to buying the woods, you want to make sure that it's dry enough as well. Because if it's too wet, you're gonna have to wait until it dries up a little bit more before working it. Because if you start working on it, it will start bending and shifting and everything like that. When it comes to the neck, it really depends on what kind of thing you're gonna go for. If you're gonna have a multi-laminate, of course, you're gonna need strips that are smaller. If you're gonna have a single piece neck, if you're gonna have an angled headstock, all of that kind of depends on the design aspects of what you're gonna do. Now, the easiest way of figuring out how much wood and what size pieces you're gonna need is basically to draw your instrument out to its scale, 1-to-1 scale. Just draw it out, it'll answer so many questions, and I'm gonna cover that in another video to come. I actually have a video where I'm gonna draw a guitar 1-to-1, and you get to follow along and see how it's done. And when it comes to the type of woods, if you're unsure on what kinds of sizes and everything, you can easily just go ahead and buy body blanks and neck blanks online and start from there and learn how to go from there. And then once you're comfortable with sort of blanks, then you can move onwards and start making your own shapes and doing all the work yourself. To that end, if you're really just a beginner and have minimal woodworking experience, for example, a good place to start actually is just buying a kit guitar from somewhere and working out all the little details in it. Because more than likely there's going to be some sort of thing that you're going to have to figure out. Either the neck pocket isn't great, or something's a little bit out of whack, or you can just go ahead and start customizing the hell out of it. Create a new body shape, add contours, glue the neck instead of putting it in, adding in different sorts of things, doing the fret work, doing the nut. It gives you a sort of whole encompassing thing on what to fix. Because quite frankly, building guitars is all about making mistakes and learning from them. I don't know a single luthier who has made perfect guitars from the get-go. You always make mistakes, and that's a good thing. You learn from the mistakes that you do and the mistakes that you make, and from then on, you can start making better guitars because of your previous mistakes. How do you build a guitar with a limited tool set? What type of tools do you need? I've always struggled with having the right tools for the job, and I've had to kind of work around, but there are a good few things that you're gonna need. One of the First things that you're gonna need is a bunch of very good rulers. So a good protractor goes a long way. Not necessary, but goes a long way. Good rulers of different lengths. There we go, have a longer one. Tape measure is always a good idea. Good pencil, erasers, that sort of stuff. That's very important to have. Now it depends on how much you're gonna do a limited tool set. Are you gonna be working from home or do you have access to a workshop? If you're just gonna be working from home and want the whole 9 yards of what you're gonna need rulers, sandpaper, tools to mark out. Cutting the body by yourself, a jigsaw is a very good way to go. You can cut the body shape out with that. You're gonna need to make templates, or if you're buying templates online, which is very easy, a router. You can just buy routers and jigsaws and all kinds of tools from wherever, but I would recommend buying good ones straight off the bat, because the poor ones, they won't give you good results and more effort than it's worth, and you're gonna have to renew them sooner or later anyways. So just buy good tools straight off the bat, and then if you decide that it's not for you, then you can just go ahead and sell them. People will buy good tools off you, but I would recommend to make more dust. Very important thing for your router is a bearing cutter. Now this will allow you to go along all your templates to get your edges nice and square. So there's that. Now what you're also gonna need, you don't need it, but it helps, is a good drill. This will help you with putting everything together. You can do it by hand as well if you just have a bunch of screwdrivers. It's always good to have a bunch of different tools at your disposal. Of course, if sandpaper isn't your thing, don't want to sand by hand, a good orbital sander is a worthy investment. Definitely something that you should check out. Try and get for yourself. I only got my sander a year ago, and I've been doing everything by hand. And boy, has it helped. It has made things so much quicker and so much smoother. Now, moving on to other parts. For your neck, you're definitely gonna wanna have some good rasps and files to kind of get that shape in. I would recommend getting a saw rasp. So a Shinto saw rasp would be definitely good. This is a cheap knockoff version. It's not that great. You still need to purchase a better one. And a good rasp goes a long way. If you want, you can also use spoke shaves. You can get spoke shaves from pretty much anywhere, so they're always handy to find. If you get a good one, you will not go wrong. So these things I love, and I carve my necks and body carves and everything with these things. I love them. Also, when it comes to joining a body, you will probably want to have either a 5.5 or a 6 hand plane. Will go a long way to get your joints perfect. One tool, which doesn't get enough love in my opinion, is a leveling beam. You can do so many things with this. You can sand things down, you can do the fret work, believe it or not. You can help with your neck, this is a multi-tool. It doesn't look like it, but this does a lot of different things. Well, actually, putting it this way, back when I didn't have too many tools, one of the tools that I used for anything and everything was this. Things are a lot easier now that I have a lot of tools at my disposal, but I use this for many things. And I recommend getting a leveling beam to do the same. Now there's a whole variety of different tools that you can use and get. But yeah, I would say the quintessential stuff would be good marking tools. So that's pencils, rulers, the leveling beam, router, sander, jigsaw, and something to carve your necks, so a rasp, and then all the stuff that you would need for fret work. So fret files, you can level the frets with the leveling beam again, so don't need anything else for that. Soldering iron to do all the electronics, but if you want to buy pre-made electronic with quick connects, you can do that too. I'm not sure, I've probably missed something. Glue spreader, those are tools as well. Yeah, let's have a look. Have I missed something? I have spent a long time gathering up the little tools that I have at my disposal nowadays, and you will too. So you will notice that if you start getting into guitar building, your tool collection will start growing exponentially. Not saying that's a bad thing, but if you have a wife, girlfriend, spouse, whatever, they will quickly notice that you're spending a lot of money on tools, and you know, depending on their attitude toward the whole thing, they'll either be supportive or they'll be asking, why didn't you buy groceries instead? How much does it usually cost to make an electric guitar? Just wood and basic medium quality parts. That really, really depends. If you're just buying medium quality parts, there's a couple of things that you shouldn't be stingy on. You shouldn't buy bad fret wire. Always buy good fret wire, because you will need to either refret things or just fix things up a whole lot if you have bad frets. So I recommend good fret wire. Good electronics will go a long way. Good tuners will stay in tune. But it really depends on what kind of quality parts you're gonna go for. You can either have something that costs about 100, which would be like the Pine guitar altogether, or you can have something that costs a good few hundred, like the Scum, for example. It really depends on pickups as well, what pickups you're gonna buy. Tuners, good tuners can actually cost a fair bit, but they're worth it. A very good bridge can also cost a fair bit, but if you're just gonna go for medium, there's a bunch of different outlets that you can check out. If you're starting off, then of course you can build something that has the medium quality parts at first and then update as you go fairly easily, just using common sense online, if the stuff you're buying is actually up to par or not. Read reviews and what other people have said about products, and that'll go a long way. In general, the way I learned guitar building is I just watched YouTube tutorials. There's so much content out there that you should just go and check out videos online, people talking on forums, and ask other luthiers on how to do this, that, and the other, and they will help you out. I've learned that the luthier community is so helpful when it comes to a lot of stuff, and there's very little competition. Everybody has their own thing that they're doing, and nobody's really competing as such with one another. They're mostly helpful people, and that's something that's very, very great and very good. So you'll always find help if you need it. So yeah, just do your research, and if you have any other questions, if I'm not going specific enough on a couple of things, please just let me know down below and I'll try and specify things a little bit better. But I think that's for now, and I'll see you guys next week with another question for me to answer and babble on about pointlessly. All right, see you guys. Bye.